This is the final page for the section of the rings when they came together and the pyros are fired. It's worth noting two things here. The first time the ring pyros were fired in a pyro test about 3 weeks out from the show, the rings set on fire and caused considerable damage. The second is that 30 minutes before showtime live to the world, there were faults on 2 of them due to water ingress and a damaged DMX cable on the complicated cable reel system. It would have been incomprehensible to think what would have happened if one of those rings wasn't working. It doesn't even bear thinking about. The main sections of the show were time-coded, and then the intermediate and protocol sections were all fired manually. Some were queued by the show caller, Julie Whittle, and others we queued as a team. This was the first section that we started to light, and one that we reworked several times. Initially, Patrick's initial thought on hearing the music of these thousands of drummers and chaos was to create a highly syncopated display of white light that followed each beat of the music. Andy Pridd and I created a heavily layered piece of programming allotting different lights for each part of the music, from the hi-hat to the bass drumming. What we quickly established that the energy in the pandemonium wasn't so much needed from the lighting, and it was the energy of the performers tearing the beautiful green and pleasant land to pieces that was the real force here. And the lighting would become just way too distracting. This first 20-minute section of the show went from daylight to fully dark and also worked perfectly with the context of the piece, with us hitting dark time perfectly for the pyro moment. Like any great stadium show, we stayed in white for a large section, fading into sepia CTO colours and then hitting our industrial steels as more of the turf was ripped by the 1,000 volunteers doing the scene change. Project Woolly. We knew about this project for some time, and the day we saw the footage from Buckingham Palace, we were flabbergasted. The day of the first rehearsal of this project, the pilot did several flypasts of the stadium, and the cast in the Industrial Revolution had no idea what it was about. They only ever knew about the section they were in to limit leaks. As we had several helicopters from the press trying to take photos of the show, the cast assumed it was the Daily Mail again, and so booed the pilot and the jumper. Incidentally, at night, we would try and blind any helicopters coming overhead with the lighting rig so they couldn't take photos of the set. I'm going to have to skip through because I've actually run out of time. It's fair to say that one of the most remembered pieces of the show was the pixel system fixed around the seats. As an individual object, they are nothing remarkable, but when mixed with perfect pixel mapping and playback, they become a thing of complete beauty. As a lighting department, we had a fair bit of good wind off the back of the pixels, but the design, install, and content was very much down to others. What we did do as a team was to encourage Danny to use them more than he planned in the opening. They were very much going to be an item for the closing, and Danny's team had certain usage of them. We would comment back after rehearsals if content wasn't reading right or if it was too subtle. It's also down to the lighting team they were used for the athletes parade, as we felt it really added another dimension to what is one of the longest sections of the show. And there we have it. My time is over. I have overrun by 2 minutes. I do apologise. We haven't even scratched the surface of the show. I have done a piece on the closing ceremony, which you can read in the STLD magazine. I hope that gives you some idea of the 4 ceremonies last summer. Thank you.